thank you again for joining me, guys. And why don't you hit us with the tagline again, because I think it really like embodies who you guys
sums
are.
Sums up our team.
We help happy people buy and sell homes.
Woo!
Yeah.
We'd love to help you.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Coffee Unscripted. My name is Louis Capelli, and I'm here today with the Morton Group. And I've got Craig Morton, Samantha Walco, and Randy Mingo with me today. I've had the pleasure of working with you guys, I think, now for almost 5+ years, which is crazy how time flies. And I think one of the things that I've appreciated about working with you guys over the years is, outside of being just true professionals, you guys are very genuine and real with how you interact with your clients. And I've had the ability to get to know your families and kind of hear the story behind y'all. And so for those of you that haven't had a chance to kind of get to know you on a personal level, this would be an opportunity to kind of see the other side for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Craig, I'll let you kind of kick it off. I'll hit you with kind of an easy question to start out.
Cool.
Local guy, grew up in Arizona.
Yep, born and raised in Arizona, North Phoenix.
Right on. What high school did you go to?
I went to Barry Goldwater. I grew up in New River back before Anthem was there and everything. So we didn't have, that was the closest high school. It was like a 55-minute bus ride to high school.
Heck yeah.
It's crazy. But it was cool. It was a great experience. We had, like, living in New River is a very small town, and then we used to call it into town to go to school.
We still call it that.
Yeah, I guess we do. It's just the diversity of the people that I got to meet, and like at the high school level compared to what I necessarily kind of like my sheltered small town childhood was really cool, and just getting to know different people and being friends with people from all different walks of life. And it was a crazy kind of time because it was the most North high school there was. So like we were getting kids from North Peoria came to our school. There was Deer Valley Road all the way down to like Union Hills up to New River. And I mean, it was just kind of a crazy thing. So you really got all walks of life and cowboys hanging out with
dirt bike riders.
And it was just like making friends in sports and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty fun. It's cool.
That's
pretty
awesome.
thankful for that.
That's super interesting. And was real estate kind of on your mind when you were in high school or kind of starting up? I know you got kind of a family background that was in the real estate game, but how did that kind of like come into your vision as you were thinking about starting a career?
I was kind of born into the real estate world to an extent. My dad is a general contractor, built a lot of spec houses, some custom homes, and my mom's an architectural designer, so she draws house plans, and she went to school to be an interior designer. And so that was kind of how I grew up, is on job sites and going to look at model homes with my mom to get new ideas and different stuff like that. And then graduating high school, right in the beginning of our senior year, my parents adopted my cousin. We're only 9 days apart. So we're both coming into graduation, and my parents sat us down and they were like, "What's your plans after high school?" I'm like, "I'm taking over the family company. I'm gonna take over the construction company." And my dad's like, "Yeah, we'll get back to you." and then Eric was like, "I'm working at Levi's at the outlet mall. I'm kind of digging that. That's cool. I'll just keep doing that for a while." And they were like, "No, all right. So military or college?" And then
we need a plan.
Yeah, we need a plan. We gotta clearly haven't talked
You're
about
winging
this
it.
enough. Yeah, they're like military or college. And so Eric chose to go to the Air Force. Super cool. He's still in the Air Force. He's got an awesome job working on fighter jets and doing all kinds of, they do like new testing and stuff. And then I went to school for energy efficient building and design. So I started taking over my parents' company. And then in 2012, my dad passed away. So I got my general contractor's license. My mom and I were doing all the construction stuff, but the economy kind of sucked. And then I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. Maybe we'll flip houses. That was how it all started.
Wow. And what year was this?
2012.
Okay, so right when like the economy's kind of bottoming out, coming out off the crisis. Okay.
Yeah. And then I just started telling people I was a realtor. I got my license. I started working on a remodel during the day and showing houses at night, and kind of felt unprofessional to an extent because I'd show up dirty sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just me. Whatever. But I started getting feedback that it was nice that I wasn't just trying to sell pretty. I could actually, we could walk through, like, if there's changes that somebody wants to make to a home, like how that would be done. Maybe he's talked about some cost, aspects of it so people know what they're getting into. And then also talking people out of certain situations, because some houses are really pretty, but then this one crack over here tells a big story,
That's really interesting.
A lot of people maybe wouldn't know. So then we got busy, and then Sam and I teamed up, and then Randy, and we're just kind of jamming away. And yeah,
I love that. And that's a great segue because Sam, you live in Whitman and have been out in Whitman for some time.
13 years.
13 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you originally from Arizona or?
California.
California.
Yes,
Okay.
but out here since like kindergarten.
Okay.
So
sweet.
pretty much Arizona.
Right on.
Yeah.
And what's it like living in Whitman? I mean, it's kind of its own
Busier
thing.
now.
Yeah, I know. It's
13
awesome.
years ago, there was nobody out there. And that's so I grew up like North Peoria.
Okay,
and
cool.
we had land. Neighbors weren't like right next door, you know. We all do dirt bikes and razors and all that. So when it was time to buy your own house, I was like, I'm living far away from everybody so that we can just go play.
That's awesome.
So, but it's getting way busier out there now.
I've driven by it when I'm usually going like towards Vegas and I'm like, wow, there's some expensive
You're all
homes
Sam's
out here.
out here.
It's pretty wild.
I always tell everybody, I'm like, have you been to Wickenburg? And they're like, no. I'm like, have you driven to Vegas?
Yeah.
You passed my house, I promise. Like, I'm on the way.
That's funny.
So how did you and Craig get linked up? Was that high school? Like, what was the connection there?
My husband and Craig,
really?
So,
like,
her husband and I grew
forever.
up together. We knew each other since like 5th grade.
Okay.
Since
Wow.
their elementary school days. Because
Yeah.
he grew up out there, like in New River, Desert Hills.
Okay, awesome.
And so
And real estate for you, how did that kind of happen? Did Craig approach you and kind of maybe pitch you the idea, or how did that happen?
No, so I worked at the bank. I worked for U.S. Bank for 9 years. And there, like, we always had agents coming in, and they'd be like, Sam, you're so nice. Like, you'd be so good at this. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never even thought about it. So when I finally was like, okay, I think I'm done with the bank. There's not really anything else I want to do here. I'm going to go get my license. Why wouldn't I try? So did that. I was like, Craig, you look busy. He's like, I'm busy. I'm like, I can be another you. Let's go.
What year
that's
was
really
this? Was
awesome.
this around 2012 or?
We, like, literally, I was looking, we're like 9 years in together now.
Yeah.
That's
It's,
awesome.
I don't know
So-
how that's gone by so
It's
fast,
crazy.
but yeah.
Yeah, literally,
Time flies.
I was like in the middle of like losing my mind.
It's timing. It's like perfect.
And Sam just sends me a text or like a Facebook message, I think it
Probably.
was. I don't even know if I had your cell phone number at the time. Like, I obviously knew you because I know Brad and we've been friends forever. But
Yeah.
I get like a Facebook message and she's like, hey, you look busy and
I'm
do you
licensed. What you
any
need?
help? I'm licensed. And,
Shooting your shot.
You know, yeah. And she's just like, you know, if you need a transaction coordinator or showing agent. I think you asked like if I need a showing agent or something like that or something.
Or if you had a team or whatever
Right,
was
yeah.
going on and you're like,
I was like, dude, I don't even know, but if you want to come in, let's talk. And like, I really didn't even know what I needed. And Sam like just drug it out of me. She would come to the office and be like, okay, Craig, what do you want me to do? And then I'd be like, I don't know. And I was just so motor.
Yeah.
You know, I was just motoring. And then Sam got access to my calendar and just started going in my calendar and taking care of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, yeah. you
well, I was like, your
talk about a
calendar
freaking
stresses me
blessing.
out.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna try to whittle that down.
I'm gonna fix it. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just such a blessing. And yeah, and then we just kept going.
You know, I know it's hard for me to give up control sometimes, you know, because I feel like in my world, I can control things. I know how I want things done. But when you find the right person who can take that away from you and then you're kind of doing your highest and best use,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And that's what makes a team
100%.
really like thrive and kind of take off. Sam, your like role on the team's kind of evolved recently. I think you're kind of getting more involved outside of just transaction coordinating, but like doing listing
She's the
appointments. Like you're working with buyers. You
All of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're
She's the
like,
glue to our team.
Yeah.
I'll
Swiss
do
Army
whatever.
knife.
Yeah.
I love it all.
Yeah.
and your energy is so like you can feel it like and you know those realtors coming into US Bank like they were spot on. Like when I communicate with you over email, like it's always happy Wednesday and there's so much energy behind it. And I think that's important because real estate can be a little stressful and
sure.
people aren't always their best selves on any given day. And like I think you help diffuse situations and you make everybody feel a little bit more excited about the deal, which is a special gift. So it's awesome.
Definitely.
And Randy, I think in talking to you over the years, I know the story Pacific Northwest is kind of where you came from. What was the kind of motivation to move to Arizona?
Yeah, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest and then eventually met my wife in Portland, and she's native from Arizona. She'd always said that after we were dating and married and stuff, and that she had wanted to move back. So I told her, I said, and I had a daughter from a previous marriage at the time. So I told her, you know, I can't move until my daughter graduates high school. So funny story that all my friends get to tell is, yeah, he was His daughter graduated in May or June. The house was up for sale in July, and they were moving to Arizona in August.
There was a plan.
My wife is very structured on
Right on.
making sure the plan is in place and then executing it from there. So on one of our trips down, we had the idea of moving down here. So we reached out to a family friend who knew Craig. So we started looking at some homes and stuff like that. And then while we were back in Portland, kind of checking out some homes remotely. And then once we finally decided to move down, and then
Great
we
time
went.
of year to move to Phoenix, by the way.
Perfect time, especially as a native to the Northwest when it is sweltering hot. And this is absolutely the worst climate for me. When I was in the Pacific Northwest, when it hit 50 degrees, I was in shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
Because that's sunny weather and up in the
Oh,
Northwest.
heck no.
And it's funny how quickly your blood thins out down here. Now I'm in a sweatshirt until it's 70 degrees down here now. But eventually we moved down in 2016, and then we started the house hunting process with Craig and really got to know Craig very well, enjoyed his demeanor and everything like that, and started following him on social media, and finally decided, I reached out to him and I just said, hey, if you got room for another person on your team, I think I'd love to join the adventure that these guys are on.
Was that 2020 or 2018 or?
That would have been, so we moved in 2016. I kind of followed around for a few years, but then it was around 2021, 22. I think it was in 21 when I got my license.
Right when the market was going bananas.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hurry, we need you.
I joined with the idea because I love to help people.
That's happy people buy and sell homes.
Exactly.
That's what
Such
we
a
do.
great line,
Yeah,
dude.
that's it.
I love that.
And it's not, we're not high pressured. We want to make sure that we're putting people in a good position, finding the right place for them. And so that's what I viewed and experienced with working with Craig and stuff like that. And I just kind of wanted to be an extension of that for people and stuff like that. And it's been fun. I've had a blast helping people, especially helping people that don't think that there's any chance of getting into a home.
And you're freaking great at it.
Yeah. I can
do my
attest to
best.
that. I can attest to that. I had no idea that that's how you met, that you guys obviously did a transaction together and then kind of came together that way, which is super cool.
One of Caitlin's friends is
My sister-in-law.
That's another really good segue. There
Many
too.
links in that chain.
someone's
Third cousin on my wife's side. And
Well, that's a great segue because that's another thing I want to talk about. Like, your guys' business feels very much like family. Like, whenever you send a referral, it's always like, this is my third cousin, or this is a guy I go dirt biking with, or this is my pool guy, or like, it's just an amazing like collective of like human beings that you've put in your world and your sphere. And it's never like, oh, I just met this lead online. It's always like a personal connection.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when I talk to the client, interfacing kind of on the loan side, it's always like, man, love Craig, like grew up with him. It was just, there's this story behind it.
Yeah.
How is that kind of the vision of how you wanted to build the business? Is like you wanted it to be very like organic, personal? Because I know there's a lot of different ways to build a real estate team, but yours seems a little different in that way.
So this is how this all started.
Let me break it down.
I went to a class like when I first, I'm a learner. Like especially when I start something new, I'm just like, and I'm not the type that is going to sit there and just read stuff and learn. Like I want to go to classes. I want to talk to people. I want to like network and learn that way and learn like the real life thing. I like to hear other people's stories and experiences and stuff like that. So I first got my license. I just started taking classes, and I think it was code of ethics class, or like something. It's kind of a boring one. I think it was one of the ones that I like had to take. Yeah. Like when you first get your license, there's like a few classes you have to take. And then, so I'm like kind of doing ones that I have to take, and then I'll take one that I want to take, and, going through that way. In this class, it was a tough class.
Tough to stay
I
awake.
wouldn't want to teach that class either, But right towards the end, he threw out this statement, and he goes, do you guys know what the number one complaint from the Arizona Department of Real Estate is? And everybody's like, no. And I think we were all brain dead at the time anyways. And he goes, the number one complaint is that clients don't hear from their real estate agents after they close on a deal.
It's
and
just crazy
that
to me.
it's too transactional. Something clicked in my head, and I was like, I can fix that. And if you can fix the number one complaint, probably going to like have some success, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to stay in touch with people. And I like doing that anyways. And it's so funny because once I started actually learning about marketing and networking and things like that, I started realizing that like my dad was a master marketer. and networker. Like, you know, as a kid, I would be driving around going to pick up some materials or something for a house that he's building or whatever, or be at a job or looking at a remodel or, you know, something like that. And he would always just be like, who lives in this area? And we would just stop by people's houses and, you know, and just hang out. Hey, we were in the area. We figured we'd stop by and knock on the door, and we'd end up in there having a soda or coffee or, you know, whatever. And it was just this crazy situation. And so like, I'm like, oh, this is not that hard. And it's honest. And then there was a time where we tried to buy leads. And it didn't work at all.
It was so...
Like, I don't know.
It was not us.
What kind of soul you have to do that, but it is not ours.
We don't possess it.
Like, we don't possess that skill set. We just essentially spend a bunch of money to find out that it wasn't a good idea for us. But I know people that just crush on online leads and stuff. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad way to do it. It just wasn't a natural way for us to do it. And I think it's so natural for our personalities to just want to stay in touch with people, want to help people, you know, if they need a referral later for something else, we want to be that person. We want to be their go-to person for anything with their house. We found that if we just spend the energy doing the things that we actually like to do and we feel comfortable doing and feel like we're doing good, we just get way better results from it, and it just feels better.
Yeah, it feels totally natural and authentic. It's not, we're not
that's
putting on
kinda
some
how that
extra smiley face unnecessarily. I mean, this is genuinely who we are, and we're not any different behind closed doors. And that's why I endeared myself so much to Craig and Sam, is because that just fits all of our personalities and our ethics, really, of how we deal with people.
And it really is amazing, like, what we have built. We are kind of like a family, and it's like, I'm going out of town this weekend. A past client called me the other day. I'm going out of town this weekend. Passed him off to Randy. You know, we're in a group text, and it's like, Randy's saying all the same stuff I would say, you know, and then we've gotten feedback like, oh my God, if you could duplicate yourself, Sam is it. Like, you know, like, I mean, we just...
The girl version.
Like, we have the same values. So working together and making sure, you know, all of our clients essentially just get 3 for 1. We're all here to help. We have our jobs per se, but we kind of all back each other up and make sure that ultimately our clients are getting taken care of.
Oh, that's amazing. I've taken a page out of your guys' book recently. So the last year, I've been actually stopping by people's homes after closing. It's not every single person just because of like distance and proximity, but when I have an opportunity and I'm like, I should swing in and just say hello. Yeah. It's such a great feeling because you walk in the home and you get to realize like what we actually do, right? It's a transaction, but like this is somebody's home. This is memories.
It's really powerful.
It really is. Yeah, you see the pictures on the wall. They're showing you all the things that they want to do to the home, and like it becomes very real. And
totally.
Yeah, it's been a rewarding part of the business, getting outside of just the technical side of it and getting into like the people and finding out like what is kind of the motivation behind this. And you brought up, you know, kind of the dynamic of your team as you were just talking there. Was that always your vision to create a team? Really? Okay. How did that come about? Was it just like you blew up with business and you thought, hey, how do I kind of duplicate myself? Or
I guess. Basically, it was more than I could handle alone. But at the same time, like, I got lucky. Like, Sam reached out at the right time. Like, I don't know. God just puts things where...
No doubt.
We're kind of looking for a puppy right now, but I've got this thing where I'm like, I can't just go online and just go.
This puppy is gonna come on my lap. I promise.
Fall in my lap, right? Like, I'm gonna be sitting at a street corner, and there's gonna be a little black lab right there, and I'm gonna buy it.
And that's
bring
the
it home,
one.
and my wife's gonna be jacked. You know? But she's like, let's just go online and find a breeder, and I'm like, it doesn't feel right. It feels forced.
It's cold. That's so cold.
Give it to us when it's right, you know, or whatever. But I feel like we just kind of did it with the right values and stuff like that, and the right things happened, and it continues to work.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Randy, like, coming new into real estate, what has it been like for you having kind of like a leader or a mentor in Craig to kind of show you the business? Because I felt like when I got in the business on the lending side, I'm drinking from a fire hose. You know, there's so much stuff coming at you, and you're just trying to pull little bits of information out. Like, how do I kind of perfect my craft? Has it been good having Craig in your corner here to kind of help develop and grow?
100%. Yeah, going through real estate school and stuff like that, kind of going through the schooling process, you kind of get a little freaked out. Like, oh my God, there's a whole lot more to this than what you had imagined before you got into it. Craig was a great mentor, calming resource to be like, hey, we got this. It's not as scary as what everybody makes it out to be. He's always there to answer the phone for me if I've got a question about a particular process. And one of the reasons that I got into real estate is because I love the diversity of it. Every transaction is different. There are no two transactions that are exactly the same. You can't put it on a spreadsheet and say, okay, here's our steps and here's how it's going to go. And this is exactly the dates that everything is going to fall in line on. I love to keep my mind working and dealing with different obstacles that pop up from time to time. It just keeps you fresh, keeps you aware of whatever the situation is. And Craig was a great calming resource for that, helping streamline the whole process. And here's an obstacle. Okay, here's how we're going to work around it. And we got this. It's super simple. That's what we like to relay to our clients and stuff like that is it's just another obstacle. We can work around this. We got answers for this situation and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. It's a lot of it's just being creative and being open to not everything has to happen a certain way.
Sure.
It's about the end goal and how we get there really doesn't matter. Obviously, we want the smoothest and easiest route. But sometimes, I mean, it depends on who you're, the other side of the transaction is. Sometimes you have a buyer or seller on the other side that's determined to make things difficult. And we just, we can get pissed off at that and crush a deal or just make everything hard, or we can just try to explain to our client, look, this is the situation we're in. If you guys really love this house, then we will go through the shit that we need to get this, accomplish this goal for you guys or with you guys. But we're just going to have to get creative. It's going to come at us and we're just going to have to figure out the best way to move forward and solve that issue or capitalize on whatever we can or whatever.
Absolutely.
But it's all about just accomplishing the goal at the end of the day.
Real estate can be clunky and everybody's got a different scenario. A property could have some property-specific issues. Somebody might have credit, income issues. And when you put all that together, it's like, how do we navigate all these
there's so
obstacles?
many moving parts.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, Sam, I've hit you up multiple times when we've got a pretty big Binzer, right? And we're trying to go through these inspection items. We're like, how do we get creative here?
Yeah.
And I'm going to need you to send an email and be really bubbly so we can get what we need.
Start this out for me, okay?
But that's the collective of all of our minds and creativity coming together to get these deals through. And
having the right lender is a huge thing because and you're super creative and happy and don't let that stuff get in your head or really affect you on the outside. At least sure we all get stressed, but we all get stressed. But being able to work with you and your creativity and positive outlook, and then our creativity and positive outlook really can come up with that's when you come up with the best solutions.
Well, and the other part of that too is the trust in us handing off our clients to you as a lender. We know that it's going to be a positive experience and our clients are going to come back to us and say, man, Lewis is awesome. He had all the right answers. He gave me these options. Here's what I got to do to repair my credit to be able to buy a home. And it's really not that daunting. You have a very calming effect on people when they have the conversations with you on the phone about the steps that need to be taken for them to achieve their dream of owning a home. That takes a huge load off of us, knowing that we don't have that to worry about in the back of our mind. Like, man, is everything going to get handled and taken care of in the right way? And you are a rock star for that, for us.
I appreciate you on that, yeah. When you guys send somebody over to me, I look at that as you're entrusting me, number one, with your paycheck, but number two, there's a human being behind this, and they've got dreams, they got goals, they've got a family, they've got movers coming, they've got this whole thing going. I got to do my part to make sure that they have a good experience because at the end of the day, even if we get the deal done, we don't want them pulling their hair out by the time they get to the finish line. That's just not a vibe that we're going for. So I try to match that energy on your guys' side to make sure that everybody's kind of in the same headspace there. I want to pivot gears a little bit, Craig, because I know you started off the conversation with kind of your general contracting background, your family, and you're kind of getting back into that scene now. And I love that because, again, that brings a different kind of pair of lenses when you're working with clients because you understand maybe at a deeper level what it's like to build a home or different things like that. How have you enjoyed kind of getting back into that space lately?
It seems like, I don't know, every year I would end up doing 1 or 2 remodels kind of thing, but just kind of stopped advertising or marketing it or really even talking about it. It was just kind of, I grew up, everybody knew my parents. Everybody knew that my dad was a builder. Everybody knew my mom was a designer. We lived in a small town. My dad was this master marketer, and it's and didn't even know it. And so things would just come to me. For the longest time, it was almost like I didn't want, once I started really getting busier in real estate and enjoying it and that sort of thing, I was kind of I don't know if I can do both. then I was almost like, I didn't want to talk about construction because everybody knew me. Like I was like labeled as the construction guy. Like everybody called me for their construction questions, or even if it was just little handyman stuff like at their house that they could do themselves just to get, ask questions and stuff. And so I was almost like trying to recreate myself as the real estate guy.
Yeah.
Then like as we built the team, and like I really do love construction. And there's something that I think that kind of ties me back to my dad and that helps my heart.
Yeah, that's powerful.
But being able to have a team that like can handle, that's like, I feel like there's such an extension of me, and like I have all the trust in the world. It made it so I could go back and kind of get busier. And then so over the last year and a half, I've been doing a lot more remodels. I've done a new build last year, really enjoying it. And still being involved in real estate. I love real estate. It allows us all to, I guess, flourish a little bit. They got some more responsibilities on the real estate end. I got a little less responsibilities on the real estate end, but I'm filling my bucket.
Fill your cup.
Filling my cup with construction.
You got a big cup.
It's fun. I've really enjoyed it.
I think sometimes in this business, burnout is real, right? Like you have year after year after year of you're closing 100 deals. 125 deals, 150 years. And suddenly, like, you feel like, wow, how am I going to gear up mentally to do this again? And sometimes we have to reinvigorate ourselves. And I know for me, bringing in my loan partner, loan officer assistant, kind of reinvigorated me. I handed some responsibility off, but now I've got this dynamic with my team member, and I've got the juice again,
That's cool.
And then we start taking on different things like this podcast, for example. I never would have typically done this in the past, but now I have a little more bandwidth to think about things like this and kind of, again, reinvigorate, change the business up a little bit and do things that truly excite me versus, being in the weeds 24/7. I've got someone who I can trust that can maybe take some of that weight off.
Awesome.
And I think that kind of helps keep us engaged and motivated going forward. I know we're kind of coming up to the end of our time here, but I wanted to kind of throw out a question to the group. Market's been a little weird lately, right? Last 3 years, we come off like crazy, just bananas, COVID, super low rates, homes are flying, and then all of a sudden it's like we hit the skids.
Sure.
And the market changed. I want to throw out just like some market predictions. What are you seeing? I know you got a lot of listings out there, you got a lot of business. What are kind of your projections for maybe this year and where you see the business going?
It feels like the buzz is kind of picking up since the first of the year. To me, I feel like prices are coming down a little bit. Interest rates have come down a little bit. The market's going to correct itself. It's honestly a great time to buy. You can negotiate like crazy right now.
Yeah.
So if you're even thinking about buying, you might have a little higher interest rate now than what you really wanted, but there's a lot of different areas on a transaction where you can negotiate and really set yourself up for success. And
sellers right now are willing to help you. They have
There's a lot of
reasons to be
houses on
getting
the
out of
market.
that house,
Sure.
whatever it is that they're doing.
So,
What conversations are you having with sellers about maybe ways to kind of get some wins for buyers to maybe get some more eyes on their home? Is it price reductions? Is it seller concessions? What are you kind of doing on that front?
All of the above. It just depends on what they're comfortable with or whatever they feel is best. I think that you don't really have to offer the seller concessions because I feel like that's it's something in there. Like no matter what, every buyer is going to be asking for it. You have the opportunity to. Why not take that chance? Most of the sellers are willing to work with you right now. You know what I mean? Absolutely. But as far as like on the seller side of it, it's a little harder because now you've got a lot more listings out there and the buyers get to be pickier. So a lot of price drops, I think, are happening just to kind of get out there a little bit more. But even just like
traffic getting in there.
And just old school stuff. Like now you're going into the neighborhoods and knocking on the door and you're like, hey, this neighbor's moving. Do you guys got friends or family that want to be here? Sure. And it works. I mean, people, they live in those neighborhoods for a reason. They like it there. So
I love that old school.
Yeah.
Like there was you put a sign
Take
up
it
and
back.
it was gone during COVID. And now like we're getting back to basics, like we're going to make the calls. We're going to knock doors.
Yep.
We're going to do some different marketing. It's powerful stuff.
Well, and it helps with everything. You meet more people. All of a sudden, you're having conversations. And no, they didn't have any family that wants to move over here, but now you're having a conversation entirely different. You're handing out cards and making friends, and you're like, okay, you're going to be our friend for life now. Sorry.
And as you're taking out buyers, I'm sure you're having these conversations too. Like, I think buyers are getting wins right now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great time for buyers right now because there is quite a bit of inventory. And sellers are willing to give up concessions. They are willing to make repairs on the homes to where, 4 or 5 years ago, that wasn't happening. It was, you got to take the home as is and you're overpaying for it.
Yeah.
Now we're...
And are you willing to sell a baby?
Exactly, yeah.
And crazy for you, Randy, to go to like coming into the business and you go from COVID insanity,
Yep.
homes are flying, to total market shift. You've been in two extremes of a market, like
Yep. In a very
short period of
Yeah.
time. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it because it showed me what the other side was, and now it's time to work. It's before it was easy. You put ink on a paper and you put your best deal out there, and your deal may have gotten accepted, but now you've actually got to work for it. You've got to investigate the house and make sure that it's not overpriced, and making sure that we're writing a competitive offer if there are multiple bids coming in on it, and how you structure that deal to make us the winner. Especially how in love with the home our clients are is how aggressive we get, but yet not putting them in a position where that home could be a detriment to them later. We don't want to overpay for something. We want to make sure that we get in at the right price and still get the repairs and seller concessions and anything that we can ask for them. My motto is a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Absolutely.
If we don't ask for it, we're not going to get it. So ask for whatever we want, and the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no harm in that.
Best
thing that can happen is they can say yes.
Let's start a conversation, right? That's always where we begin. And maybe this is the time to throw out a disrespectful offer. You never know, but you just want to get a conversation going.
Right.
And it's been cool watching you over the time that we've worked together. Like when I have a conversation with you now about a deal, like the evolution, right? From the beginning to now, like the knowledge has taken off. Like it's really cool to see just the experience level grow.
Yeah.
And that has made you, just a better version of yourself in terms of this business. So
Exactly.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's kind of a buzz in the air right now with the market. I'm feeling it. I feel like even though there hasn't been this dramatic change with interest rates, and while home prices have come down, they haven't crashed, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like an uncomfortable down.
I think there's always this fear out there, like it's these extremes, right? And the last big crisis was '08, right? And so people are like, is that happening again?
Like, oh, we must be getting close to that.
Right?
Nope.
And if you would have told me interest rates hit 8%, I would have been like, wow, home values are going down. I would have thought that would have been a massive catalyst for home prices to go down. What I think is happening is we're kind of getting back to balance, right? Sellers are still getting
100%.
wins. Buyers are still getting wins.
Yep.
And one of my worst years in the business was 2022 because I worked with a lot of buyers and they couldn't get their offers accepted because there was 50 offers on a home and it was bidding over ask, and really well qualified people, first-time home buyers, they just didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were wrecked.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
If
so
you didn't
now,
have a boatload of cash, it was hard.
right. And that's not a healthy market, right? And
No.
if you own
It's
real
not even
estate,
fun.
No.
Honestly, it's not even fun. It's just
and home prices going up 30%, while exciting if you own something, also problematic, right?
Right.
Yep.
We can't sustain that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the first-time buyer's never getting in. So,
Yep.
Well, that's a wrap for the first episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, thank you, Craig, Sam, Randy, for being on the show.
Our
If
pleasure.
you want to follow these guys on social, look them up at mortonrealtyco.com for all your real estate needs. They're dynamic. You'll love working with them. Thank you again for joining me, guys. And why don't you hit us with the tagline again, because I think it really embodies who you guys
Sums
are.
us up. Sums up our
Yes.
team.
we help happy people buy and sell homes.
Woo!
Yeah.
We'd love to help you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you again.
Yeah.
This
For
was
sure.
awesome.
Always.
Absolutely, it was fun.
That was a great
This is
time.
awesome.